Prateek, for joining us here on ET Now. And let me congratulate you at the outset for raising $210 million. Do help us understand how are you looking at deploying this capital, and where does this really take the valuation of your company?
So Sita, just to correct you, it's a $210 million of funding, and post this round, we'll be valued at $2.8 billion. In terms of INR, it's like three times the valuation of the last round. It happened in just 2 years of time, and the use of proceeds, fundamentally, it's the comfort capital for the group, and it will be mostly deployed in in-house capabilities, building and strengthening only. So one priority would be expanding into newer cities, strengthening into existing cities as a Vidyapeeth and Pathshala as an offering. So 2 years back, we started Vidyapeeth offline learning centers. And as we speak, in just 2 years of time, we have reached from 0 to 2 lakh admissions in 105 cities with 150 centers. So we'll be expanding another 40 additional centers this year. Along with that, we'll be starting some newer exam categories, going deeper into some existing exam categories. So this will be used as a capability enhancement within the organization.
You know, the kind of investment that you've raised, Prateek, that speaks really volumes about the business model of the company, especially as we're seeing some high-profile collapses in the overall EdTech ecosystem, Byju's being one of them, and this funding coming in at a time that really speaks, investor confidence in your company. I remember what Ronnie Screwvala had said a couple of months back, that one company facing troubles doesn't really mean that the overall sector is in doldrums. How do you weigh in on that? And of course, what do you think has really worked for PhysicsWallah?
So, what have worked for us is sheer focus on content and community. So we have built this company on 3C principles, focus on content and community, and commerce will be the outcome. So, and whatever we do at PhysicsWallah, we keep learner and teacher at the heart and center of everything. Fundamentally, any education, venture, you have to put academics at the center of everything. So, and there is a there is a deep focus in building communities, so that so that you need not to spend an inorganic means of reaching out to the students and and acquiring companies. So that has worked out very well. What have recently worked out for us in past 2 years, the Vidyapeeth as a business, have turned profitable in past 2 years. So this is the first year of profitability of Vidyapeeth as a standalone business. Second thing is 2 years back we were just present in two exam categories, JEE and NEET. Currently we are serving 32 exam categories: UPSC, GATE, SSC, banking, railways, CA, commerce, CAT. All these exam categories we have entered, and we have demonstrated the horizontal expansion. So these two things have worked very well for us in recent past. And and we do see we have seen an enormous growth in free and paid users, and if you see the market also, the learners are the online learners are increasing with the increase of smartphone penetration in India, and internet availability in India. So learners have completely gone hybrid. They are using best of both the worlds, like online and offline, to strengthen their preparation. So we are very bullish about the entire sector.
So where do you think growth for the EdTech ecosystem is going to come from? We've seen after the pandemic, interest sort of waned off, which really led to more focus on offline centers versus just online centers. Where do you think growth is going to come from? And do you really feel that the overall market for EdTechs has shrunk overall?
No, so the thing is, overall market have expanded, but fundamentally there was a stress in the premium edtech market, so we are a very different company. Our course price is $50 for a year, just 4,000 rupees for 1,000 hours of live lectures, and fortnightly tests, daily practice sheets, and a mentorship. But there are companies who used to charge 500 and $1,000 for the similar product. So premium edtech market have suffered a bit in a post pandemic era. But if you see the overall number of internet users, number of online learners have increased significantly. And specifically, there was a surge in offline market in post pandemic. But if you see the large spectrum, fundamentally, domestic consumption, if you see the domestic consumption pattern in India, so every household, the premium spend goes into education, in a good quality education. And PhysicsWallah stand for highest quality education at the most affordable price. So that's where we teach maximum number of kids in this entire market. So we have really expanded the market and make education affordable.
And are you looking at any specific kind of consolidation deals that would really help complement your business model and your offerings?
So, we're not in talks with any of the companies right now, because we were very busy with the closing this private round and the current audit closure as well. But moving forward, if any good asset comes, we'll happy to evaluate and consolidate as well, with us.
Okay, so you could look at some of those deals in the future, but Prateek, help me also understand the offline versus online ratio. I mean, after the pandemic, like I said, things have shifted to offline. People had not really expected that kind of a shift to happen. But where do things stand now so far as PhysicsWallah is concerned? And are you looking at deploying extra capital so far as your offline centers are concerned? And what is going to be the way forward, the outlook? Will this ratio be maintained going forward as well?
So currently, 55% of our entire business comes from online, and 45% is offline. And this revenue mix likely to be same in upcoming future as well. 1:1 offline is to online. But 95% of our learners are in online mode, and so we have started calling it's like offline merged with online. It's OMO now. Because students are using best of both worlds to strengthen the preparation, and the world is heading towards the hybrid model. And for us, both the learners are important, but online learners are sometimes solely dependent on us, because these are the learners who from a low income backgrounds, where family of 8 people are living in one room, brother and sisters are sharing mobile phones, and we are the only hope for these kind of learners. So that gives us even more that makes us even more accountable and responsible for these kind of learners. And we have amazing impact stories, 500 IITians and doctors, we have produced, who are the first doctors and engineers of their villages. Right, both learners are important for us.
Okay, so you are stating that your focus will remain on online because, like you stated, that 95% of PhysicsWallah's learners are in online mode. So let me ask you your growth outlook for FY25, especially the kind of profit dip that we saw in FY24, and that perhaps was due to growth-related spending. But what is your outlook overall for this year?
Yeah, so the revenue will be up by more than 50% in FY25, and this year will be a highest EBITDA absolute year for the company. Although we have a very small history, but quarter 1 and 2 has been profitable for us in FY25. So so this year is a year of sustainable growth. Although revenues will be up by 50% as compared to last year.
All right, so FY25 is a year for sustainable growth. But Prateek, I have to ask you this question, given the kind of investor interest that we're seeing in IPOs, especially so far as new age companies are concerned. And you must have also seen the kind of returns that these companies have given to investors, retail investors. That really shows the kind of appetite that the retail investor really has. So when is your IPO coming? Are you at all planning an IPO? If yes, then what are the timelines that you're working with?
So, like, we were very busy with this private round, so we couldn't able to track the current IPO market. But but post this round, we'll discuss with our new partners, existing partners, and put a strategy and timelines to it. IPO valuation, funding, like, primary, secondary, all are these are like just words for us. What is more important for us is outcome for a learner, like, impact which we are creating on society.
Okay, so you will be looking at coming up with a strategy, nothing concrete as of now, but what is going to be your priority going forward into the next couple of months?
So, like, currently as we speak, like, we are a high growth company, and like, there are a lot to be done in domestic market. So our priority is like student NPS along with, like, focus on growth. Like, so these are two major priorities for the company as we speak today, because we have seen, like, competition have become quite weaker, be it offline and online, and like, we want to go out and capture as much as we can. So growth is one priority, and of course, like, student NPS is the topmost priority for the company. Like, it will be always the priority for the company.
That's an interesting outlook, when you want to scale because competition is weakening and you want to capture a majority share of the overall market. But one final question, Prateek, before we let you go, what is your overall outlook on the EdTech sector, on the test prep sector? We've seen the kind of rise that this sector has seen over the past few years. Of course, there's been that kind of dip, like you rightly said, that competition has waned, has weakened in this sector. But what do you predict? What are your projections overall like for the edtech sector going forward? What are we going to see? Is this going to surge to the same levels as it was perhaps a couple of years back?
So test prep is a very promising sector. Like, we have a large test prep market in India, and that's a large opportunity. Investor are now more interested in frugal startups, profitable startups, and like, those startups who have right fundamentals in place. And well, like, overall market India is like, like, the overall consumption story in India is at bull run. Like, and like, education being a priority sector for average Indian household. Like, there will be a great companies in K10 market, there will be a great companies in skilling market. And like, test prep is like, a bit mature market, but like, there will be a lot more big players I wish to be emerged in test prep as a market as well.